Welcome to Poetics, where we explore the beating heart of verse and celebrate the creative spirit that moves us all. I'm your host, Tamarah Rockwood, and I am thrilled that you're joining us on this poetic journey. You know, people have asked me how I fell in love with the world of poetry publishing. And the truth is that this has been a kernel of my heart from the start. Together with my husband, Ben, we founded Bainbridge Island Press here in the misty embrace of the Pacific Northwest. And every morning I wake up thinking about poetry. I think about what we could be reading, what we could be writing. I'm thinking about how to find voices, and I'm reading the poetry that people send me. And it flows. Poetry flows through us as naturally as air. And it is constant, it is powerful, it is ever-changing. And I love it. Ever since we opened our doors virtually in December of 2022, we've had the incredible privilege of bringing poetry books to life. And each one is just a different voice in our literary sky, from powerful debut voices that burst onto the scene with raw emotion to international anthologies that weave together words of human experience from across time. These past 2 years have been nothing short of special. We found ourselves going to book festivals. We are hosting poetry readings. We are reading manuscripts. We are communicating and reaching out to poets from all corners of the earth. I love it, and I'm glad that you're here to enjoy it with us. So here is what POETICS Podcast is all about. It is your weekly invitation to join in, and each episode we will do a 10-minute deep dive into one poem. And we will talk about craft and creativity and inspiration and why it's relevant and why it touched us. So today we're going to get started. So grab your favorite drink. It's 6:00 now on Wednesday. So I have a inspirational candle lit on my desk, as I think is necessary. I have a teacup of Cabernet Sauvignon, and I'm going to get started. So sit back, get comfortable. Let's explore poetry. Welcome to Poetics, where every word matters and every voice has a story to tell. So the poem that I am going to be discussing today is a more contemporary poem. It is called Notes of a Pig, and it is by Jenny George. It is from her poetry book called The Dream of Reason. It was published by Copper Canyon Press, and I really got into analyzing this. So I hope you are inspired and by the book, but in the meantime, we're going to get into it. Notes on pigs. A pig has eyelashes. The pig's eyelashes function like our own eyelashes, but have different meaning. A pig who cares about her looks is absurd. A pig does not take a long evening bath with a glass of sparkling grapefruit juice set on the porcelain ledge. Many people live near animals. A person who cares about a pig is a rare thing. Neither a pig nor a person is invincible. A pig is a tasty thing when killed and cooked. A person dressed in a pig costume is trying to be funny. Pigs have superior eyesight. A pig can see the silver belly of a plane moving across the sky, or a beetle crawling up a fence post. Certain pink tulips, when the sun hits them, have the color of a clean pig. A pig can only give birth to a person in a dream. When a pig dies, it is either mourned by other pigs or not. Okay, so let's unpack this very profound poem and find out what's going on. So this poem, among with many others of George in this book, forces the reader to see this scene through a lens of poetry that yearns for harmony amidst conflicting beliefs. So this poem juxtaposes realities with harsh realities, maybe uncomfortable realities. George is using the human perceptions of pigs with the actual biological capabilities against the existence of pigs and creating a meditation on empathy and the gap between human and animal consciousness. So this poem alternates between factual observations like the pig's superior eyesight or their eyelashes, and then imagined scenarios that anthropomorphize pigs, such as taking evening baths or caring about their looks. And that is highlighting how humans often fail to appreciate these creatures on their own terms rather than through our own cultural projections. And I would say that this is a lesson, a tool to show us how we can appreciate and create empathy for a pig in the same way we can use that same lens of empathy for other people. So this, I think, is the creation of a lens. Can you look at a pig through this lens? Can you look at other people through this lens? This poem builds to a deeper philosophical point about morality and the connection between species. And we can see that in lines like, neither a pig nor a person is invincible. Or when a pig dies, it is either mourned by other pigs or not. And these lines force the reader to confront both the sentience of pigs and our tendency to reduce them to food. Like the line, a pig is a tasty thing when killed and cooked, suggesting that our failure to empathize with pigs reflects a broader human failing to recognize and respect the consciousness of other beings. But at the same time, the harsh reality, perhaps the uncomfortable reality, is that pigs are food for the world. Pigs do not hunt for food. Pigs do not kill for territory. Pigs are smaller. If a pig between 1 pound and 120 pounds is a pig, after 120 pounds, it is a hog. Those are both domesticated animals, and if it is wild, then it is a boar. Just FYI. I've never raised pigs, but those are the definitions. Furthermore, pigs are smaller. They're domesticated, so we can even further see that this poem is not about a wild boar that is naturally omnivorous. We can see that this poem is about a domesticated pig that has human qualities. It is not described as a wild boar that digs its snout into the soil to eke out earthworms and chestnuts. This is a pig that has clean, pink flesh, like a flower, that is quiet. This pig recognizes aircraft in the sky. The line, neither a pig nor a person is invincible, further bonds the pig to the human. It is away from the wilderness and closer to the hearth. The line that says, a pig does not take a long evening bath, has a negation to it. With this negation, the author implies that although the pig does not take a bath, it very well could. And a further distancing of the pig from the hog is the idea that a pig could dream about a human. So what is the purpose of domesticating this animal to the point that when a pig dies, it is either mourned by pigs or not, which could very well be said about a person. What is the underlying meaning of selecting this barnyard animal to anthropomorphize? What is George saying by telling us everything that a pig does not do? By focusing on pigs, creatures that we've domesticated primarily for consumption, George highlights the moral contradiction in how we simultaneously recognize their sentience, their ability to mourn, their sophisticated sensory capabilities, while also reducing them to meat. The things the pig does not do, like take baths or care about their appearance, emphasizes how we judge animals by human standards rather than accepting their own form of consciousness and dignity. Now, the choice of a pig is particularly interesting because pigs are known to be highly intelligent, and yet they are among the most industrially farmed animals in the world. The final line about mourning suggests that, like humans, pigs form social bonds and experience grief, yet we've created a system where these emotional creatures are treated as commodities. So by anthropomorphizing the pig while simultaneously acknowledging its pigness, George is forcing us to confront our selective empathy and the ethical implications of how we've positioned ourselves in relation to other conscious beings. On the craft level means how is it written, not why is it written. So when we analyze a poem, we're usually saying what words is the poet using, what figurative language are they using, how, or not how, but why are they saying this? What does it mean? But on a craft level, we are looking at the page. We are looking at the words. It's very architectural. How is this poem created? How is it crafted? And it's very interesting because Georgia is not making stanzas. She's making a list of things to consider, one line after another, and the reader is responsible for connecting the images and the narrative. George is using very clear imagery to create gentle scenes of pigs in human settings, filtered by familiar emotions that can be easily accessible by the reader. The image of a pig in a bathtub enjoying sparkling grapefruit juice is relaxing, and the reader could imagine doing the same. The pig is watching the underbelly of a plane flying overhead, which could be done by the reader. A pig is dreaming of giving birth to a person. The inverse of a person having a dream of giving birth to a pig, I'm sure, is in many common dream dictionaries. The negation that George uses in this poem is forcing the reader to see the very common world through a very empathetic lens. And so we could ask, what if the reader looked at the homeless or immigrants or children through this lens? How would the reader see the world differently? And that is why I chose this poem, because the lens of empathy and compassion is needed more and more in our world, and this poem utilizes the space of poetry to use the ancient language of visions, dreams, and figurative language. And we must always remember that poets are writing the human experience. Poets are sharing our truths through the ancient language of poetry. How can we fully understand love without the bloom of the rose? How can we understand empathy without seeing it through another eye into something unusual, like a pig? This language that poets use to describe our own human condition is what we are preserving when we write and when we learn about ourselves when we read. And this is why poetry is so important, not only to us now, but to those who we have written about and for those who are no longer with us, so that we can preserve the memory of ourselves. So I hope that you enjoyed reading the Notes on a Pig with me, And I hope that you go find her book in a store. It's called I'm going to pull it up really fast because I don't want to get it wrong. It's on one of these tabs. The Dream of Reason by Jenny George. All right, that is all for today, poetry friends. We went over a little more over the 10-minute mark. I don't think that I'm ever going to make the 10-minute mark, but I'm trying. I just have so much to say. Poetry is so exciting. If you've enjoyed diving into the world of verse with us, please join us next time. We've got more poets to meet, more poems to explore, and more literary adventures to share. Until then, keep reading, keep writing, and keep poetry close to your heart. Thank you for joining POETICS Podcast, where we bring poetry to life, one verse at a time.